Good morning.
You got that information I sent you.
Yeah, we are live, Dick.
Okay.
This is Peter Brewster for 101 Small Business Mastermind, and with me we have our regular cadre of awesome individuals. Say good morning, Dick.
Good morning, Dick.
And say good morning, Frank.
Good morning, Dick.
All right. Lots of interesting news today. On my block, my A block, I want to talk about, well, first I guess I should give a WordPress update. I finally got all the plugins. They don't always play together, right? But I got a list of plugins that I do like, that do work, that I am familiar with, so the creativity door is open. That's the good news. The bad news that I went to set up Dick's site and Master Ed Martin's site, did perfect, set it right up, was logged in for 1 minute, and it unlogged me, and I could never get back in, and I have no idea what happened. So I had to call help. Which was also interesting, and they had to go in and reconfigure the WordPress, to get in, and they said, well, didn't do anything wrong, but didn't tell me why it wouldn't work right. But anyway, hurtling through that mess, I am now setting up what they call a WooCommerce site. And WooCommerce is everybody loves WooCommerce plugin. What a pain. Everything's backwards. What you see first is really what you see last, and vice versa. It's really something. So but the good news about WooCommerce is that it does calculate tax when you can figure that out, which I haven't been able to figure out yet. Even though I go through all the tutorials, it just does not want to work for me. I called John Lentini and gave him the passwords into the site. He got it working, so I have to go figure out what I was doing wrong with that. But one thing it does do nice is it does inventory automatically for you. So you put in what you've got in stock, and as people make orders, it actually removes it, and you can set reorder points. So that's kind of cool from a plugin standpoint. The martial artists are starting to use the new site. They're putting up some blogs, and they're putting up their events, and independently of me doing anything. So the interactivity from that part of the site is certainly working well. So that's kind of my WordPress update. Now, the wearables. Oh my gosh, guys. Let me share my screen with you. And I found this site. I had an app called Appy Geek. Geeky, and it's got, for the geeks on us, an incredible list of types of. Let me get over so you can I can see the site here. It's got an incredible source of news on geek stuff, car tech news. I even ran across Ford is building an e-bicycle that has some navigation and a bunch of other stuff tied into it. I didn't read much of it, but I'm going to go back and take a look at that. But, Apple jumps in, and we all kind of think maybe Apple started the wearables, but it turns out they're probably Johnny-come-lately. If you start to look at some of who's who, from Fitbot. I also read about your doctor giving their patients wearables that report your vitals and all kinds of cool stuff directly to the doctor. And the doctors will be wearing a wearable that connects them to the hospital to not only tell them where they are, who they're with, so to speak, whether they're seeing patients or not, and also the condition of the doctor, which is kind of crazy when you think about that. But here's some really cool wearables. Here's a Sony smartwatch, 3 steel. And you can go to this site, excuse me, go to the site and read all about these various wearables. But as you walk down through here, LG has even got a wearable going on. And I read this morning that Groupon has got an app for your smartwatch that as you walk around a certain area and it knows where you're at, it can offer Groupon deals to you, which really is a very interesting thought. When is Yelp going to get there? Now here's one, a wearable for your shoe, for your soles. You can heat your feet. Now, this is obviously good for people in the snow or elderly people that have cold feet, but you can do it right from your smartphone as a wearable. Here's a wearable mouth guard. For athletic individuals, if you get hit in the mouth, it'll tell you how much damage you've got and how bad it really is. This first time I saw this was this morning. Pretty crazy. And the rest of this stuff is here's a Magellan navigation watch and whatnot. They're pre-selling some stuff out on Amazon already on some of these things like Pebble. There's a watch called Pebble. But some of these things have, I saw one this morning with a battery life of a month, which is, a smartwatch with a battery life of a month is pretty crazy. So wearables are certainly coming along, and I've read some that they're going to have sexual wearables that will suggest more caloric expenditure during sex and suggest certain things to you whilst you're doing your deed there. So, oh my God, these guys are really going crazy in the wearables department. But it is a wave of the future, and so that's my A block pretty quickly.
Well, no, I want to add on to that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not into that. I don't wear anything.
You will be. You will be.
I know, but I'm reluctant. I guess the one that I'm intrigued about, and I'll call it wearables for your car. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a commercial the other day. I think it was a Mercedes, and showing this guy. I assume it was a guy. It was a driver. Could have been a woman. Who was nodding off and was changing lanes,
mm-hmm.
and the car woke him up. I said, "Now that is really cool." Then I saw another one where the car in front of him stopped quicker than anybody anticipated, and the car started applying brakes before the guy knew it was even happening.
Yeah.
And I said, and I've experienced that when I was doing the tennis tournament. But the one that really got me was, and I don't know, and I still don't know how it did it. It predicted you're coming to an intersection, looked at the traffic coming from both sides, and predicted that one of the cars could not stop in time and was going to on a crash course to hit you because it could not have stopped in time, and it slowed you down to avoid an accident. And I'm saying, now that is cool.
Yeah, that stops you from getting T-boned.
And I like the comment that the announcer, voiceover guy said. He said, in these three scenarios, there's one thing missing. None of them wound up in the crash. The crash is missing. And I said, wow, now that's a wearable I like to have in my cars. And now supposedly this was in the latest Mercedes, I guess is what they were implying.
Let me share my screen again. I found another website that I wanted to share as well. Let me know when you have my screen, guys.
Got it.
E-paper for iPhone and Android. This is the Pebble. And the Pebble, this is really cool because here's a look at how cool this is. It's a timeline of the Pebble. When it was invented, where it went out, their shipping. I mean, see how this timeline works in a website? Mm-hmm. Isn't that really is interesting? And about what had to happen all the way this October 23 to get the Pebble to where it is today. And I just think this is, from a website standpoint, and these are all clickables. Just amazing what technology had to happen to get the Pebble. And they're pre-selling the Pebble now, I think, or they've had the Pebble out for a while, but the new Pebble they're starting to pre-sell. And so pretty interesting stuff all in all.
Well, we talked about this in our Tuesday morning meeting, Dick and I and some other people on morning meeting, about the valuations of these companies that have yet to show a profit, and whether it's a bubble. And there is a bubble atmosphere to it, and there's a bubble element to it. But look at all the potential that we have with just your damn watch, right? Just your damn watch, right? It's exciting. It's an exciting time to be here.
And I'm thinking, gosh, if you had a business watch, smartwatch, where you're going to meet with somebody, even at like La Quinta or Mixers, where in fact it could identify who you're talking to, tell you the major part of their business, or even do an analysis of their website, for you, to be able to talk about, in my case, what they need to do to change their website to be more competitive in the marketplace. I mean, just think of the business applications that could come from these watches, to include a checkoff list, remind you to close them, remind you to call for action, remind you to make a meeting appointment with whatever that is. There's some really great stuff on the horizon for business in these
Peter,
wearables, I think.
do these, excuse me, these watches, they have voice actuation, or are they all, you have to hit the
Well,
buttons?
I think they do have some voice. I'm not sure of that. I mean, I don't know if you guys know about. Well, there's a big hoopla of Google, your Android, and I don't know if you guys have it in your iPhone. I was just showing it this morning. Here's a shot of my front screen, and it's hard to see. But there's a Google thing down there. All I have to do is say, "Okay, Google," and it comes up for a search. Okay, I can't hardly see it, but Peter Brusso. And go back here. Okay, Google, Peter Brusso. And it will come up with everything to do about me. Gosh, I can't quite get that. But the other one is, okay, Google, Charlie Moroni's Italian restaurant in Indio.
Here is Charlie Marone's Italian Bar and Grill.
Right from your smartphone.
The iPhone has the same voice thing for Google and all. And the reason I asked that question is that, to me, with my chubby fat fingers, makes life a lot simpler when I can say, okay, Google, I want to go somewhere, and next thing you know, it's on my Google Maps and it's coming through my Bluetooth, and I'm driving. With the watch, it would be. I just would find it very difficult for me to do the watch type of thing. So that's.
Well, I do know
they will be there sooner than later. I'm sure they will be there. So.
I do know my daughter Megan's got an Apple Watch, and she was out here a couple of weeks ago and spent 3 days, and it was a very, very pleasant time. But she showed me her Apple Watch, and one of the things that's kind of interesting is on your friends list. If you want to poke at them like you do on Facebook, you can poke at your friends like, hey, I haven't heard from you. What's going on?
Yeah.
You can do a similar thing on the watch, and it vibrates on your friend's watch. It vibrates them to communicate with you for what's going on. So pretty crazy stuff.
Well,
No,
look,
it really is.
look at how far we've come. It wasn't that long ago, and I'll use Dick and I because Dick's a little bit older than I am. We used to watch the news, and one of the newscasters was a guy named John Cameron Swayze. Remember John Cameron Swayze?
Yeah.
And one of his sponsors was Timex.
I was going to say, do you remember his sponsor? Yeah. Timex.
Right, and the line at Timex, it takes a licking and keeps on ticking. And that was the big event. Now, look at the watch.
Yeah.
Right? It's amazing. Just amazing. I love it.
And I think that it's a wild, wild west again. People are making these platforms like LG and Apple and what Sony for all these developers to develop apps for these watches that really do help you track everything from your heartbeat, blood pressure, and soon to be diabetic, your blood sugars and all that kind of good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty, I think it'd be interesting if they could do blood alcohol content, Dick, for our Poppy's water.
Yeah. Well, did you see the new, well, to Frank's point, wearable in cars is that the car will test your blood alcohol level and won't let you start the car.
Well, they have those. They have those court mandated now.
Yeah. Well, these are going to be and I forget the manufacturer. It's going to be in pretty much all of them. So.
Well, here's the problem with that: is if your passenger isn't drinking but you're drunk and you want to drive, then they can probably blow in that damn thing. I don't know how they're going to get around that, but
well, The stupid people will find a way to get around things they're trying to save their life and other
Uh,
people's lives for sure.
a can of air
Yeah. Yeah.
for your computer.
Yeah.
Clean your keyboard. Maybe that'll work. I don't know.
I mean, if you have a person who hasn't drank, who is willing to blow into that or test or whatever it does to allow a drunk person to drive, that's a pretty stupid person.
Yeah,
maybe
well,
he deserves what he gets by driving with the guy. But it's too bad because other people are going to pay for his stupidity.
yeah, that's the other part of that equation. Yeah, but killing other people because you were drunk, that's terrible. So I just think they ought to. I think they ought to outlaw drivable cars and just go to driverless cars. Let's keep drinking, guys.
Yeah.
You know what the hell?
That's right.
Let's keep killing our livers off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Damn the tech.
Yeah.
Vodka bottles full steam. Full steam ahead on the vodka bottles.
Yeah.
A crazy Russian hacker would love that. But there you go. All right, Frank. Oh, you know what, Frank? I forgot. I've got to prepare myself for your segment. So talk, Frank. Do something whilst I find your intro music here. Never mind.
People are worried about driverless cars. I'm worried about cars with drivers.
Yeah, I think so too.
Driverless cars do not drink and drive. Driverless cars do not text and drive. And driverless cars listen to the ticket tape. Hey, it's that time of day. Thank you. Twin, this week in the news, what can we learn from this week's headlines? This week's headline says, hey, Tim Westergren, thank you for the small business lesson. And the question always is, who the heck is Tim Westergren?
Tim Westergren. Right. I was just going to say that. We have to say that in unison now.
Right. Well, Tim is now 50 years old, was born in Minneapolis. He went to Stanford University. Seems like a lot of smart people go to Stanford University. And he graduated with a BA in political science. 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 Yeah. So I'd like to see some political science.
Yeah, well, I think the conservatives now are politically silenced. Right.
But did Tim go into political arena? Oh, no. Tim followed his dream and his first love with a BA in political science. He went into music. Okay? A frustrated musician and songwriter, Tim spent, after graduation, spent the next 20 years working as a record producer and a composer. And he devoted the majority of his time to emerging artists and independent labels, the people who weren't that well known. Well, when people are not well known, they don't pay very well. So in order to support himself between paying jobs, Tim worked as a nanny to pay the bills just so he could stay working in music. And this is a bright kid from Stanford. And then 15 years ago, in the year 2000, Tim and his business partner his business partner is called Will Glazer, had a great idea. They founded something called the Music Genome Project. And what they created was a mathematical algorithm that organizes music. Okay? And they created, tested, and patented this software which predicts a person's musical taste based on small music sampling. And here's how it works. You go to this Music Genome Project and you say, hey, I like Willie Nelson, or I like blues music. All right? And then their algorithm will go and search the music library and recommend other artists that will fit your musical taste and profile. It was a way of him promoting his emerging artists and independent labels. Well, this algorithm proved so successful that they created a company. And it is today the most popular streaming music site in the United States. It's called Pandora. I don't know about you, but I'm a Pandora user. Okay? The Pandora model was for each person, like myself, to create their own individualized music station that played only the music they like and not the junk that the station producer thought they should be playing. I used to listen to specific kinds of music, whatever city I was in, and they never played the songs I really, really liked, and they played a bunch of songs I never did like. Pandora allows you to click thumbs up and thumbs down. Say, hey, I'd like to have this more in my rotation, or don't play this song for me again. I don't like this artist, that kind of thing. Well, Pandora caught on very quickly, and today Pandora is available in the U.S., Australia, and New Zealand, and it's now going into other countries. He was interviewed this week on Bloomberg. And Pandora has two subscription plans. A free subscription, which is the one I have, which is supported, excuse me, by ads, and a fee-based model that says, hey, I'll cut out all the ads. I'll live with the ads. Pandora went public in 2011 with a valuation of $2.6 billion. Isn't that amazing how small that number sounds when you compare it to Uber and those other companies? They went public with $2.6 billion. In February, they report their yearly financials, and here's what Pandora reported. They had revenue of $920 million. They had a net paper loss of $30.4 million with all those things that they were up to do. They had 250 million registered users. 81.5 million are on active, like myself. I'm an active user. And of those 81 million, 3 million paid for the no ad model. Tim's net worth today is estimated to be $22 million. Not bad for a part-time nanny. So I researched on Tim and I said, whoa, interesting. Kid graduated from political science, says to heck with that, I want to do independent bands and labels. And being a math major, he created a mathematical algorithm, and son of a gun, it worked. I know I like it. So the small business lesson, Tim was interviewed in Fortune magazine recently. And they said, Tim, what's the most important business lesson you've learned since your time at Stanford? And here's what he said, and he lived this. And I'll quote Tim directly. He says, do something because it matters to you. His words were because it's beautiful. Not because of the reward or external validation it will bring. And I was thinking, wow, isn't that true? Many wannabe entrepreneurs have great ideas, but they never start or execute or launch their idea. You know what the biggest reason is? It's because they do not want to hear the ridicule they will receive from well-meaning family and friends. And Tim says, don't listen to them. If it's in your heart, follow it. He said, sustaining your commitment to something in the face of ridicule and doubt is the greatest challenge in doing something out of the ordinary. He says, starting a business is a risk. So the small business lesson is, you've got a great idea, you feel it in your heart, you're emotional about it, you care about it, it's something that makes you, something that you believe is and can be beautiful to other people. Don't listen to the naysayers. What are they doing? Okay? They were ridiculed, and Tim, with his political silence, did his mathematical algorithms, I think is amazing, and now he has Pandora, and who else, where it's going to take him there. And gentlemen, that's my twin for this week.
May I request a twin for next week?
Sure.
How Pandora is going broke because of iRadio, or Apple Radio.
That's the prediction.
Yes, but you can take a look at the losses are already starting to stagger down.
Yeah.
But it's a $25 billion industry that, you know, people are struggling to get in and out. And Pandora, because of their Pandora, to me, almost sounds like the fable, the Buggy Whip Company.
Mhm.
You know, where they're just not going to change. They're going to continue to sell Buggy Whips, even though cars were invented at the same time. In their mandate, they can't change. And one of the things that I was just looking at too here, it says basically that they're inflexible. The engineers are making $70 million a year, and they're going to ride this right into the ground. But it might be an interesting trend to see because of Apple's radio entree and what that might really mean as far as the Pandora business model.
Yeah, Pandora was ahead of its time. Now Spotify has come in,
Yep.
And some other ones. But yeah, the iRadio, the Apple streaming service will affect everyone. And they asked him about that in that interview, and he was very adamant that they're different and that he believes there's room for both. I don't believe the community believes that. I'm not sure I believe that, but he may not survive. He may not
I
survive.
I think when people get used to a certain brand and the Pandora feel, touch and feel is a little personal, where iPhone or the iRadio seems to be impersonal. That I just read about that too. Um, it goes all the way back to social media isn't new. Its delivery mechanism is new. But building relationships and preferring brands and preferring to do business with people is still the way to go. And Pandora may have to weigh on that more heavy than they thought.
Well,
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead, John.
I just jump in on a couple things you said. One of the differentiators that Pandora has, say, from the new iRadio is, you have the option for the free, which you take advantage of. I have it on my phone. I'm not a big music guy, so I don't use it much. But I think you said out of the 81 million or something like that, 3 million pay.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
what percentage of the non-payers are going to go pay $9.99 a month for that? So Pandora might be able to survive based on that and get some ad revenue. But when like we talked about it Tuesday, we talked about it last week. The thing that's going to have to change, they're probably going to have to start making a profit along the way. Just the paper loss or whatever kind of loss it is. That to me is because if the investors start feeling that they could lose a lot of market share, they're going to jump the ship very quickly because they don't want to be part of that ship sinking. If they show that they can survive with their free market and make a profit and revenue from ad sales, then I think they may not be as big, but they'll probably be they could be very healthy for a long time. But if the ownership is inflexible, that to me says they're not going to make it. They have to realize the world they're in. The second thing you talked about how entrepreneurs and people are afraid to start business because of ridicule, and I think they're afraid because of fear of failure. But as a network marketer, that's one of the things they preach all the time is go hit your friends and family first. Well, I can count on probably one hand the amount of friends and family that have signed up with me, and they either give passive no's or they say you're crazy or whatever. So I think one of the big misconceptions is you're going to make your living in network marketing selling to your friends and family. You're not. So you've got to develop a market outside of that. But
Well, again, having been in network marketing, have not done well in network marketing.
Yeah.
I did make money by not spending money on Christmas gifts because I lost a lot of family and friends because I bugged the hell out of them when I took them off. I didn't have to buy them anything. No, I agree with you. It's but a couple of things. You're right. Apple is $9.99 a month after the 3-month period, and Pandora for the current time being is free, which I use. Right now, I am not going to pay $10 a month for Apple because I can get what I want from Pandora, and I'm very satisfied with Pandora, very much so. So I think there's a lot of anytime Apple enters a marketplace, there's a lot of hullabaloo and a lot of dire straits. Ask Motorola how they're doing with their cell phone business. Once Apple came in.
Right.
But one thing Apple is good at is dominating a marketplace not by charging less, but by charging more. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they have. I guess it's not available till July, the radio streaming service. I will look at it, but I can't imagine what they're going to offer me to make me want to pay $10 or $9.99 a month for that service, which I get for free right now. So we'll see what happens.
Well, I think the Apple market is almost a different market than Pandora's, but I think that Pandora, like we said, the the CEO or wherever the management team have to recognize the world has changed, or if they don't, like to Peter's point, they're going to be buggy whips. You know,
Yeah.
they can survive. Companies have survived 3 or 4 generations of technology by adapting to technology. You know, even Kodak has finally survived based upon what they used to do with copiers and things of that nature. So the key thing is that as if I was an investor in Pandora, which I'm not, I would really look at the management team's plans for the future and how they're going to generate revenue and profits. Because if they start losing market share, the investing community is going to kill them, and
Hmm.
that's what's going to be their end. They could survive, but if they don't adapt, they won't.
Well, a prime example for that is a company based in Toronto, which owned the business communications market. It was a company called BlackBerry,
Yeah, absolutely.
and they were slow. Now, I like John Chen. He's a new CEO. Came over from SoftBank. Um, he hasn't turned that around, and I'm not sure they're going to make it. So, will Pandora become the next BlackBerry? Maybe,
Could be.
maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
We don't know, but it'll take a while to shake out.
See,
It'll take a
my
while.
impression of BlackBerry, and I haven't followed it closely, other than what they're doing, is they refuse to go with what's going on in the marketplace. So they said, we're BlackBerry. We're going to continue on with our little punch thing, not have a lot of screens and all this other stuff. They thought that the name was going to carry them through, and obviously it didn't. So
Right. That's
All
right.
right.
yeah,
So, Dick, where does the C block? You have some entrepreneurial words of wisdom.
well, I do, and my discussion today is going to be about me and kind of what experiences I've had over the last couple of weeks. And at our Tuesday morning meeting, we all start out about what went on this week, and I report. My mine was very short. I said nothing. I'm in a business momentum slump. The last couple of weeks have just not been good for me, and so I sit back and I try to analyze. Okay, why? You're rolling pretty good. You had a lot of momentum. You had a lot of potential associates, and uh, all of a sudden you wake up in the morning and you're not as motivated. You're not doing the things you should be doing, and your attitude isn't great. And so one of the things I've talked about, I like to do self-analyzation, and I've spent the last couple of days doing that. And I said, okay, what has changed? Why all of a sudden do I have this attitude? And so you start thinking about your personal life, and everybody's personal life, you're dealing with issues. Some issues take a little more attention than others, and takes your mind away. And then I've had some of that. And then you talk about your business life, and I've from a business life point of view, I've turned a little bit negative, I guess I could say.
Yeah,
I,
you blanked out. You turned a little bit what?
a little bit negative.
Okay.
And so I started thinking why. And there's been some things that have happened. I've had one particular interaction that has been very trying and has cost me a lot of time and a lot of energy, and it's put in a lot of negative thoughts in my mind. So that's one of them. I had some people that I thought were definitely going to be associates that said maybe in the summer. I can't do it right now. So I had some. I shouldn't call them failures, but losses or whatever that I anticipated was going to be good. So that has led to my I'm usually a fairly positive thinker, but it's led me to be more on the negative side. I went to a couple of mixers last week that I walked in with a bad attitude, and I reinforced it because the locations weren't really good. They were crowded, they were hot. You couldn't talk, you couldn't move around. And after half hour, I just walked out. And I come home, my wife says, "What happened there?" And I said, "It was nothing there, just so." So I have put myself into this slump. It's my business. I'm the only, I work obviously for as an associate for Legal Shield, but it's my business, and I have put myself into this funk and this loss of momentum. I can't blame anyone or anything for doing it. I've allowed myself to turn the emotions around. So now I say to myself, okay, what are you going to do? You, know, you, you, you can't go on forever like this. So what I'm in the process of doing is I'm not going to overreact and throw out everything I've been doing and all, but I am reevaluating my activities over the last few months, and I'm looking at these mixers and saying, am I going to get the value out of what I have? Have I, if I go in every one of them, am I going to get the value? Because it just seems it's the same type of thing, same people. You don't make any new contacts. So that's one thing. The second thing I'm doing is I'm getting up, which I always do early in the morning. I go for a walk or a swim or do something. Take a shower, boom, and I'm working at 7 o'clock. Planning my day or whatever. And I'm going to change some of the things I do. I'm going to focus on different areas of the business because I think part of the problem was boredom of going and doing the same thing over and over and over again and getting pretty much the same results. So I have the ability to focus on small business opportunities and also on human resource benefits programs. So I'm going to spend more time on that and not as much as on the individual membership. But I think from a small business point of view, you have people like myself that I'm the only person in it, and then you have maybe 7 or 8 or 10 employees or whatever. And I think you really have to guard against letting the elements of the world, be it personal or business, take you into a frame of mind that is not productive. And that's the frame of mind I've been in for the last couple of weeks. I mean, I have days where I just don't do anything in the business, and I look for reasons not to. Okay, and so the other thing is procrastination is a killer, and I've been procrastinating. So now I'm starting today. Going to start focusing on other parts of the business to get a little freshness to it and maybe get a little bit more motivated. I got to be away for 3 or 4 days, and when I get back, I will instantly implement that plan. Because one of the things you don't do is it's like I'm always going on a diet on Monday, and the next Monday I'm going to be on a diet, and then next Monday comes and I don't go on a diet. So you got to do it. You got to put the plan in place. You got to do it. So I thought I'd share that with everyone because I'm not unique. Everybody goes through these ups and downs of business, but the important thing is to recognize it, figure out what's going on, what may have caused it, and then make some changes that will get you out of it and get you going right back on track. So that's kind of a little bit about my last couple weeks, and hopefully I'll report next Thursday that I'm doing a tap dance. So that's it for me. So.
Well, I found in my life, Dick, I'll get depressed, and people that were around me would try to get me undepressed, and for me, depression is a really, really positive thing, because when I come out of it, I'm going Mach 15 with my hair on fire because I'm sick of being depressed.
Yeah.
So maybe there's a bit of that going on, that when you come out of this thing, you'll be going quicker. But for me, if I'm depressed, my friends help me get more depressed quicker, so I get through it quicker.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense at all.
Yeah, no, it does. It does.
Keep it on. It on. And I also think that as a solo entrepreneur, we have to do everything from clean the toilet to marketing, and it's not for everybody, for sure, and it certainly can wear your butt down big time, and you get tired of some things, and I think it's okay to take a break and get disgusted with stuff, scratch your head, get into that introspective world. It's okay, because you'll come out of it far stronger than you went into it. Yeah. That's my point. Anyway, so get depressed more, Dick. You okay. Lazy bastard, you.
Okay.
You worthless, lazy bastard, Dick.
Yeah.
Frank, what do you got to say about that?
Yeah. Well, first of all, Dick, I want to congratulate you on being so blunt and so honest with yourself, and not wallowing
or blaming other people, other people.
Right, right. Not wallowing on your predicament, and I'm kind of excited about hearing how you're going to do in this new. You're going to go into the small business and the human resources.
Right.
thing, right?
Yes.
That sounds very exciting. Are there people in your circle, I guess upline or circle, whatever you call them, that have succeeded in that arena that you can learn from and talk to?
Yes, there's. I've got a couple. I got one lady that has been tremendously successful, and I've talked to her already, and we're going to talk, kind of get some tips. And when I, the human resources, the employee benefits program, you go in and you make presentations, and she's offered to go in with me to help
Oh, wow.
make the
Oh, that's
presentations.
That's
tremendous.
So
nice.
yeah, yeah. So yeah. So
Wow.
there is. Yeah.
You must be pumped and all excited about this.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, I
excited to hear
am.
you talk about it.
Yeah, I am. The one thing about Legal Shield is they offer a lot of tools, but the people that are so-called competitors on a local basis, we get together every couple of weeks and have a lunch and talk. And in fact, there was another Legal Shield associate at La Quinta last night, and I introduced him to a couple of people. We work together and help each other, so it's it's a good program. So yeah,
Well,
so
one
I'm
thing
looking
that's
forward to it.
good about Legal Shield, if you get tired of selling associates, you can go sell these other facets.
That's right. That's right. They're actually they have a program for truck drivers. They have like 7 or 8 different areas, and you have to go to classes to get approved to sell small
Sure.
business and employee benefits, which I've done. And but I dabbled in it and I haven't committed to it. So I'm going to go from dabble to commitment.
Well, at least you're not starved for opportunity and
No.
different opportunity. I mean, if you were an ice cream salesman, you're going to sell ice cream. You can't
Yeah.
sell shoes.
Yeah.
So from the getting bored about your product, at least that's a blessing
Yeah.
that you have.
Right, and there are ample opportunities, but the point that I made, or I hope I made, is when you sit down and you go all through it. Yes, there are external things that are going to drive you nuts, and there are
Always.
people are going to take a lot of your time or whatever. But it's the bottom line. It's you are the problem, not them.
Mhm.
Deal with them and move on. That's all. And I wasn't dealing and moving on, and
This is
that's
a
what I'm
great.
going to do.
I should pay you $20. This is a segue into my next section when you're
Right.
done.
Well,
Perfect segue.
I'm finished. So,
Frank, did-
future reports to follow. So
Yeah, I just have one thing I want to add. I was doing group CEO coaching for a few years in the Long Beach area, as you recall, as I've mentioned in the past. And these are small business owners, and some of them had 20 employees, 100 employees. Some of them were solopreneurs. One of my more successful clients had an agency that sold property and casualty insurance. How the hell do you make? I mean, everybody, State. I mean, you mentioned it. He had competition coming up the yin yang, but he was one of our more successful members because he specialized in property and casualty insurance for taxi drivers and truck drivers.
right.
And that's all he did. And you know what he became known as? The go-to guy for property and casualty insurance for taxi drivers
Wow.
and truck drivers.
Wow.
And I mean, while other guys were trying to call Mary Jones next door to try and sell her a homeowner's policy or an auto insurance policy, he had cab companies say, "Hey, I got 150 cab drivers. What, can you give me a quote? Because I understand you guys are really good at this." So when you mentioned that they had special programs for what did you say, truck drivers or something?
Truck drivers, yes.
Yeah. Then my first thought was this gentleman, I won't mention his name because it is confidential, but I said, wow, Dick, if you could become an expert in that area,
Yeah.
bingo, right? All of a sudden now
Yeah.
you're the guy.
Yeah.
And everybody wants to be the guy.
Yeah.
So that's exciting.
Yeah.
It is exciting. Yeah, Dick, are you going to go to the La Quinta mixer tonight?
I went last night. Was
it last night?
Yeah, I went last night.
I just got a message that from somebody who never returns any phone calls or anything else, as you well know.
Yeah.
How do you build a business like that? I don't get it. But at any rate, all right. My segue is I have a really good friend from Second Life that sent me a video, and I don't know why they did it, but The video basically was a person sitting on a 1953 car that talks about how he is the product of and I'll just spell it out, white people. They're blacks are stupid, so they're all stupid because we told them that. And basically, you went through this whole laundry list of things, including what happened. The African nation had the first university. Well, they did. It was North Africa. It was in Timbuktu. Even in those periods of time, the African culture and kings far outweighed anything we'd seen in Europe at the time. Then what happened? Maybe the Renaissance, I don't know. But all of his problems, he was trying to make everybody understand what was wrong with America with this video. And basically, at the end of it, I was so upset with it, I said, what would Dr. Ben Carson say? What would Colin Powell say? What would Condoleezza Rice say? And, you can spin your life any way you want and blame it on other people, which seems to be the common thing that goes on these days. It's not my fault I'm this way. It's your fault. You made me this way, When in fact, what have we been talking about this entire podcast were the choices that you make. You literally are the product of the choices that you make. And how we get lost in politicians who spin things and blame poverty or whatever on even to go so far as a race of people to brand an entire race of individuals is just as racist as the person who belongs and says those things about people. So I meant this particular video was just all racist as heck. And at the end, I actually wanted to write my friend and say, well, the Black Panther Party is encouraging all white people to kill themselves, to commit suicide, so that it helps them save the time of killing us themselves. Wow, the choices that we make. And from what can you learn from that? A fractured business tale, so to speak. So you see, if you back up and you look how people are spinning things and rationalizing why they're a certain way, I think it comes down to the choices you make. So let's take a look at your own business. Your business isn't doing good because of the choices that you're making from moment to moment. Dick, you're demotivated. It's the choices and what you're focusing on that helped you validate that point. Right. We are the creators of our own reality. And if you don't like your reality, then change it. Focus on something different and change it. And I can't think of a more apropos video that was meant to be rationalizing why an entire race is a certain way because another race made them that way. Ridiculous, when in fact it's the choices you make. And I'll go back to Ben Carson. I'm a big Ben Carson fan. He was the child of a single black mother living in the projects. And I think it was Chicago, as a matter of fact. And here he's one of the top neurosurgeons. He put himself, made certain choices. And, the draw of gangs are so powerful because they're tribal. We're tribal. It's in our DNA. The only way the human race survived was by tribes. We grew together. Don't trust them. Don't eat that thing. The tribe protected us, gave us a way to survive. So it's in our DNA. And so, you're raised in projects or lower income or whatever. The first people to you are these gangs that offer you belonging. That's a tribe. They offer you identity, bigger than yourself. That's a tribal thing. There's no wonder we've got all these gang affiliation problems. And the real problem is what tribe they chose to join. And it's the same thing with your work. Your business. Which tribe do you want to belong to for your business? Do you want to belong to a tribe that empowers you to be the best you can be? Not to coin a phrase from the 1st Earth Battalion, but a tribe that empowers you to look at your business in a different way, a tribe that empowers you to be different and allows you to change things against all odds, and as Frank pointed out, to believe in yourself regardless of what other people say. Those are your choices. Or are you going to get together with a tribal group that bitch about how bad business is and how bad business is, and especially in the summer, how bad business is. And when I took over the computer repair store, I got the tribal thing about how bad business is in the summer, and I took it over in the summer, and I said, I don't think so. And from a $1,500 a month income they had for 2 years, regardless, a little bit less in the summer, a little bit more in the winter, snowbirds, that I took them to $11,200 in sales in 20 days in the middle of summer, shows it's not summer. It's not. But they believed it was, so it became that way for them. So that's my tirade at the moment, and I just got to tell people, be careful of the tribe that you decide to join. Find one that empowers you to be better, not to be less than.
Peter, that whole "it's summer" bit is an amazing phenomenon that I dealt with when I was, working with Marshall Industries and all. And an example of yesterday, my wife and I had to go out for some stuff, and we did it. So we said, let's go to In-N-Out Burger for lunch. Well, the line at In-N-Out Burger was out the door around the corner. So we said, I don't feel like waiting in line. So let's go to another place. I forget the name of it. So we go. It's mobbed. I mean, you could hardly get a table. And I said to Bev, I said, what the hell's going on today? And traffic was. What people realize is not everybody leaves the desert in the summertime. And how many new clients do you need a week to make your business successful? There's, just address it to the people that are here full time. The best part of that is you have a 12-month customer, not a 5-month customer. So that whole thing is all, again, it's attitude and state of mind is so important. But the In-N-Out Burger line over in on Desert, it was out the door around the corner. The drive-through, you had to wait on the road to get going in. It was just amazing. So,
well, like websites, I work on webs. People don't want to work on their web in the summer because there's nobody here supposedly. Yeah. But that's the perfect time, by the way, to work on your web. To get it prepared for when they perceive the busy time is going to be here. Perfect. Hello. Take that downtime to polish, to paint, to refresh, to re-engage. How do you re-engage the local population that, in fact, do not move and are here 12 months of the year? Don't focus on the seasonal. No. Wrong answer.
No. Absolutely.
It should be the regulars, plus the seasonal make for a great year.
Yeah. Well, the regulars are your base. They pay the bills and give you a little profit,
Absolutely.
And then the seasonal are the frosting on the cake.
And how do you get those? How do you get those clients in, and how do you keep them? The retention. We've really not talked about retention much. No. When I had my martial arts school in Anaheim Hills, it was way out at the end of Anaheim Hills on a non-street that didn't pass through anything. It was so remote. You had no traffic. But anybody I got in the front door, the back door was sealed shut. They're not getting back out. My retention was huge. I think my retention was like 92, 93%. Yeah. Everybody came in, I kept them for years.
Yeah.
Right? And you only need a few of those things out here. If you can retain local customers, man, it's just like you say.
Yeah.
Focus on Absolutely. A retention program.
Absolutely. And then the local people, I probably, I don't know, 25, 30 people I know that are seasonal, that when they come back, I'm going to say, hey, I went to this computer store. The guy did a great job for me. So you get that word of mouth from the locals to the seasonals. So, it's
and even with the seasonal, in the case of the computer repair company, we can put software on their machines, or we can remotely access them,
right.
To help with any software issues or bugs or viruses, that kind of stuff. If it's something physical, we can't, but there is half of our program that we can, in fact, reach out to seasonals no matter where they are in the world.
Absolutely,
if they were smart enough to focus on it.
Right.
Frank, you want to weigh in?
Yeah, the couple of things. The best news for any small business here in the Valley that they can hear is that, man, is business slow in the summer. You know why that's good news? Because as long as your competition thinks that, you can beat the crap out of them.
Yeah,
because
I agree.
You don't believe it's true, number one. Number two, I want to get away from the black and white thing because I don't think that fits. But there's a gentleman that I like to listen to. His name is Larry Winget, Winget, and he's a speaker and a writer and book and so forth. And he talks about people and where you are financially. And he says in no uncertain terms, you are where you are financially because of your own damn fault of the choices you made.
Right.
You're going to go back and tell me this happened, this happened. I say, yeah, that did. And how did you decide to handle that and react to it? Another choice you made. And he hits them straight in the eyes and say, and again, I'll go back to John Taffer. I don't want excuses. What are we going to do about it starting today?
Yeah.
And it's choices. Dick, you looked at your situation straight in the eye and says, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going to try this. Right?
Yeah.
It may not work, but damn it, I'm not going to fall in on that treadmill thing that
Right.
the hamster was on. You're
Yeah.
going in a new direction, which is exciting as hell. In fact, I can't wait to hear your progress on that.
Yeah.
And it comes down to what you said, Peter, choices, 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 and you make them every day.
Right. You know, go ahead.
Let me just add one more thing on top of that. It also comes down to the choices that you don't make as a choice.
Right.
You know,
Absolutely.
somebody offers you an opportunity and you say, I don't know if that's a choice.
Yeah.
Right.
That will affect your path. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
So choices all the time. Go ahead, Dick. You were going to say something?
It's getting back to the mental discussion that we've been having pretty much this whole thing. I don't know who's a golf fan here, but I am, and I watch the U.S. Open every year. It's a golf tournament. It's my favorite tournament. And the history is they try to make it the toughest test of the year. This year they had it at Chambers Bay, and it wasn't a great course, and the players were complaining about it and all. And I'm thinking, hey, the winner's going to get $1.8 million. Suck it up, right?
Yeah,
But
shut
Jack
up.
Nicklaus, who's probably is the best golfer that ever lived, was talking about it, and he said when he was playing, when he heard someone complain about the course or the greens or whatever, he said, "Well, I chalk him off and worry about the competition. He's done." Because he's the course is the problem, and I thought to myself, you could take that as almost as a part of a twin small business lesson. If you think the other guy's got a better deal, or you think you're like myself, I've had problems or issues, I'm done until I stop complaining about the environment. And I thought that was a great comment. He said, when I heard a guy complain about the greens, I said, well, I don't have to worry about him and move on to the next guy. So
Well, and let me say to that point too, what have I been doing the last month? Learning WordPress.
Right.
When things were slow for me, it is like in the military. You rush to get in position against the enemy, and then you wait. It's what we call hurry up and wait, as you might remember, Dick. You run to get to the mess hall in time to stand there 40 minutes in line.
Right.
We could have marched there. Okay, why did we run?
Yeah.
What's up with that?
Yeah.
But I used to, when I had to wait, I cleaned my weapon and I sharpened my bayonet because I know darn well sooner or later I'm going to need both of those damn things,
Right.
or at least there's a possibility of it.
Yeah.
So this whole last month, I've heard clients say, "Oh, I'd like to have a website where I could just change things without you." Couldn't do it with what I did, right? And I know that they could do that with WordPress, and as much as I hated the WordPress thing, what did I do? I took off almost a whole month to go give myself a new tool to put onto my tool belt,
Right.
that when I run into people that want that, I have something to sell them. Now, who stops and puts new tools on their tool belt these days? You don't see many people do that. I'm not tooting my own horn. I think you might have even mentioned it, Dick.
No, I did. About 3 or 4 podcasts ago, I gave you great credit for doing what you're doing. I think that was a very good step forward for you. I know it's been a frustrating experience, but when you come out of the end of the tunnel, you have another club in your bag, that you can offer your clients.
Yeah, big time. And I think that there's a lesson there for, if you're in the desert and you're doing the same thing, maybe it's time to not do the same thing. Go learn something different. Go put yourself in a different position. Go find new tribes to be part of. Do something. Is better than doing the same wrong thing all the time, or sitting there and blaming the lack of your success on the temperature outside your house or business.
Yeah, to that point, one of the changes that I'm looking at, I'm thinking, we have our Tuesday morning meetup, and I've been looking for meetups, like the ones that we have, and we have our monthly one, and I said about this last night. I'm going to go on and try and find, the wine tasting club or whatever, and go to those, and build relationship with people, and try and change that environment some also. So.
Well, on Meetup they have these other groups of, and I ran into the swingers group.
Yeah.
Hey,
well, I don't think that.
I know. You don't want that much of a shift in your head, but or your life.
Yeah.
They have a lot of different stuff out there.
Yeah, I was looking at it. They have a wine club. They have so I'll go and I drink a glass of wine and meet people. But again, it's changing your thought process of I need to find another meetup group like the Tuesday morning or our monthly one. And I tried one a couple weeks ago. It's every other Wednesday one. And I walked out and said that's no different than Tuesday morning. So why go to it? So that's why. So I'm gonna branch out on these meetups. So.
Yeah. No. And getting back, circling around a bit, our fractured business tales.
Yeah.
Was our attempt to get people to culturally look at everything they do every day, interacting with businesses, to see what they can learn, what either to do or not to do, on a conscious level,
Right.
And I think sometimes these other meetups that are outside of your professional area of expertise, so to speak, might just be some of those how to look at things maybe similar but different,
Right.
There's bottles of wines. I had a wine show for a while, and wine podcast for a while, and my whole thing was to drive my Hummer right into the vineyard and talk with the vintner right there, and it was cool because Gary Sensei would have the film, the video, and we all mic'd up. We did some nice work, and the thing is that they had all these various bottles of wine. And one of the things, when you walk in a grocery store, for example, and you're not a wine connoisseur, you look at all those wines and you go, well, what's a good wine? And then, of course, that one podcast I know, Dick, you listened to, I don't know if you did, Frank, from Gorman, the guy that I did an interview from South Africa at his winery, little boutique winery. And rivaled the sale of Gallo in 1 year in America from a boutique winery in South Africa. How did he do that, right? Well, I was looking at, there's an Australian vintner that actually puts continuous stories on the back of the bottles of his wine. So you order this one, and you read that together at the table, and it's a story, and it ends as a cliffhanger. So you go buy the next version and sit and read this thing. So he got a bunch of people. I mean, it started to work. Well, now, greeting cards, Frank. You open them up and they sing to you. You can even record some, that in your own voice sing to people or say stuff, right? Why don't they put one of those freaking chips on a bottle of wine? And you push it to hear about the vineyard, the vintner, the wine. And you can go down the row once this catches on and have an audio thing that talks to you about the various wines to help you make an intelligent decisional choice, as opposed to grabbing it and hope whoever you're going to share it with likes it, because you never had it,
Yeah.
Break that entry barrier. Give them something to listen to. That's out of the box thinking. It's still not caught on anywhere. Of course, I'll kick myself in the butt when there's a big company that's bloated up with multi-billions, Frank, doing just that, and I'm sitting here talking about it on an open channel.
Yeah.
But get out of the box,
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, guys, anything else you want to cover?
That's it.
No, that's it.
All right, well, say goodnight, Dick.
Good night, Dick.
And
Good night, Dick.
All right, hang on, guys.